Hello there, I'm Neil Quigley and welcome to the latest episode of my blogcast. Hope you're well. I have had a fantastic few weeks. It's been brilliant. I went to see Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band at one of their Manchester gigs at the fairly new Co-op Arena. I've seen them several times before. They always put on an amazing show, and once again this time they did not disappoint. My girlfriend and I managed to get tickets to the Saturday gig at the arena, so we went up for the day and night, managed to book into a hotel. Have you ever stayed at one of these places? They're called apart hotels, and as it kind of sounds, they're a combination between a hotel room and an apartment. We got quite a reasonable deal, I thought, pricing wise, when I booked it. We arrived not really knowing exactly what to expect. It has a hotel reception and bar as normal, but when you go to the room, it is a mini apartment. So it comes with a combined lounge and kitchen area with a fully equipped kitchen, with obviously the bathroom and bedroom that you'd normally find separate in a hotel room, which was brilliant. It did feel like we had our own Manchester apartment for the weekend. When we walked into the room, the washing machine was on, which was odd. There was nothing in it, but then we noticed it was leaking. So I went back down to reception and informed them of this. They sent the maintenance man up who had a look at it, fixed it, turned it off. We said we're only there for a night, so we're not actually going to be using it, so it doesn't matter as long as it's not leaking. He apologised for the inconvenience and basically said we could have a free drink at the bar. Just go to them and say that the maintenance man said it was okay. He then sent house cleaning to mop up all the water that was on the floor. Cannot fault their service. It was great. Not sure exactly how it happened or why it happened, nor were they, but we were pleased with that. We then got ready for the concert. First time I'd been to a gig at the new Co-op Live Arena. It's right next to Manchester City Stadium, the Etihad. Our hotel was right next to Piccadilly Station in Manchester, which happily is where the tram leaves from to get out to the Etihad campus where the gig was. That was absolutely perfect. We got straight on the first tram, no queue. It's about a 10-minute tram journey and then a 5-minute walk from the tram station to the arena. We had got early entry tickets, so we got there and got straight in the queue in the sunshine. It did seem like we were waiting a while, but when the queue started moving, it did move quite quickly, and they were relatively slick at getting you through security and getting your tickets checked in. We had also, with our tickets, got what they called the after show. So just as we walked in to the venue, we noticed a table offering the after show wristbands that we need. So we made sure we got those. Once we had those, we then managed to find a bar to have a pre-concert drink. What was good, I thought, about the place, and it makes sense if you remember it is owned by the Co-op. As well as the bars, they actually had kind of mini Co-op shops where you could go and buy your own drinks off the shelves and pay for them at self-service tills, which I quite liked. It meant if you felt the bar queue was a bit long, you could just nip to the shop and get something. So we had a few drinks and found the perfect photo opportunity. They had a giant poster of Bruce that you could stand next to and have your picture taken with, which of course we did, and that went on all my social media. Well, you have to do it, don't you? I was very excited about the gig, not sure exactly what to expect. A mate of mine had already been there to see Paul McCartney, and he said the sound and acoustics are very good, which I had hoped. The other thing I was excited about was I'd never seen Bruce and the band in an arena. I'd only seen them at outside gigs or stadiums, so I thought it'll be a smaller concert, less people there, a little bit more intimate, and hopefully the sound will be great. I was not disappointed. We took our seats ahead of the start. We were at the side of the stage, quite high up, so looking down over Bruce and the E Street Band from one side. They did move around the stage a lot, and all of them at one point did face in our direction. Straight away, he walks out, the crowd go crazy, counts the band in, and then away they go. You have probably seen in the papers and on social media that he did have quite a bit to say about the state of America at various points during the show, but he said what he wanted to say, played songs that related to his statements from his own back catalogue, but he just rocked the rest of the show as he usually would. Because he's got such a huge back catalogue of songs every night on tour, he generally mixes it up a bit, so he'll change the set list slightly. I was delighted because I did look at the set list from the previous gig and it was brilliant, but there was a few songs I thought I would love to have heard, and happily for me, he did include a couple of those on the night I was there. That band are just so amazing, such a bunch of talented musicians. Max Weinberg on the drums. How he keeps going for the entire 3-hour gigs, I don't know. He just does not stop. Jake Clemens, of course, is just a fantastic saxophone player. He's got a great look as well. It just all works. And the fact that he's followed in the footsteps of his uncle to be in the band and play that instrument, I just absolutely love. Then you've got Stevie Van Sant, fantastic guitarist, and now the musical director of the E Street Band, as he is billed at the end of the concert. They're just so good. The sound of the songs, the slickness, and the way they move between all the big hits. We had several massive sing-songs in that arena with the whole of the audience singing in unison. It was a fantastic night. Had a brilliant time. Bruce and that band are as good as ever. I still can't believe I've had the chance to see them 3 years running. I so hope they do at least one UK or even European concert next year, because I will have to go. Obviously, it ended with a huge encore and lots of applause. Once the band left the stage, we of course had those after show tickets, which were a great addition, because what it meant was they kept an area of the arena open, especially for people who had these tickets. There was a live band playing. The bars were all open in that section. Everybody else was kicked out of the venue. So that meant we could stay, have an extra drink, enjoy the live band, chill out and relax, and most importantly, let most of the crowd disperse from the arena. So by the time we left, there was no queue for the tram whatsoever. Most of the main audience had gone, so we got straight on the tram and straight back to our hotel. Happily for us, the hotel bar was still open. Now, we didn't have chance to have that free drink we were offered before we went to the concert. I did wonder, as the staff had changed, whether they'd remember and honour the maintenance guy's offer, but we did speak to the barman, explain the situation and say what the maintenance man said. He then went on to pour us the 2 biggest glasses of wine, which he did free of charge. He honoured their free drink policy, and that was a great end to what was a brilliant night seeing Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band in Manchester. It has in general been a bit of a difficult season being a Tottenham Hotspur supporter, especially in the Premier League this year. We had so many injuries, big long-term injuries to so many key players. It really did lead to a very disjointed league programme, and we haven't done well enough. We've lost too many games, just not been good enough, and it's hard to quite put your finger on it, because I think we do have a lot of great players and a brilliant squad, not to mention a top manager, but all that kind of vanished over the last week or so when we beat Manchester United in the final of the Europa League in Bilbao. What a night that was. It was just amazing. In the run-up to that game, predictably, we lost 3 more players, Lucas Bergvall, James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski. some of our most creative midfielders, which probably did reflect in the match. I'm not saying it was a classic. It's not the best game we played all season. There weren't end-to-end chances as I thought there might be, but the atmosphere there was amazing. The Spurs fans were fantastic all day and all night. So loud, 100% behind their team. And I think that showed and helped in the end. On the day of the final, actually had quite a confident feeling. I just felt we were finally going to do it after 17 years without a trophy and 41 years since our last European victory. It was well overdue. We know, because I've witnessed them, we've been in lots of finals over the years and not really performed, and it's just not happened for us. I just felt quite calm and confident going into that game. And when the teams walked out, I just looked at our lads as they came out, and there looked to be something about them. They felt they were going to win. They believed they were going to do it. Christian Romero, who was captain at the start of the game, took the entire team right in front of us fans to do their pre-match huddle. That just helped with the whole togetherness of the situation. The match itself, it was tight, it was cagey, it was a battle. We had to battle really, really hard. Manchester United, despite their league position, they're a difficult team to play against, but I thought our lads were absolutely fantastic. We got the goal. Again, it was not the greatest goal in the world, but in a European final like that, it doesn't matter. When the ball hit the back of the net, I was absolutely delighted. I did hope we might go on and get a second goal to make things a bit easier, but just wasn't to be. We battled so hard, particularly during that second half. I think the manager got the substitutions absolutely spot on all the way through the game, and the tactics, cannot fault that at all. The moment of the night for me was probably the Mickey van der Ven clearance. How he got to that ball and got it off the goal line, I don't know. It was a superhuman act. He is some player and some guy. Seeing the team celebrate at the final whistle and how happy they all were, it was absolutely great. So much joy. I was so happy when we won that game and enjoyed watching all of the celebrations. Particularly pleased, of course, for Son, who has been with the club now for over 10 years. He is such a brilliant player. I have watched him score so many amazing goals and create many others as well. Just a sensational player and such a nice bloke as well. So to see him lift the trophy and the smile on his face was amazing. I spent the next couple of days just looking at all the social media pictures and videos of our players celebrating that win. They really did enjoy themselves, and I'm not knocking them and not blaming them at all. And then on the Friday after the win on the Wednesday, we had our open top bus parade through Tottenham, finishing at the stadium. Again, there were so many people lining the streets. It was amazing. It was great to get another glimpse of our trophy. Nice just to say Spurs have won a trophy. I thought the speeches the players gave were fantastic. So much passion, so much joy. The speech from Ange Postecoglou, our manager, was fantastic. He referenced the fact that when he said, "I always win things in my second season," the media laughed at him, thought he was talking complete rubbish, did not believe. Everybody else within the club and the fan base believed, and we got our trophy. And right at the end of his speech, when he was addressing us Spurs fans, he said, "You know, with the best TV series, the third season is always better than the second," and left it at that. I was really pleased for Brennan Johnson as well. He has had a great season. He's been our top goal scorer, worked so hard for the team throughout the season, and for him to get the winner was great. He did not want to leave the stage that they'd set up outside the Tottenham Stadium. If he was not dragged off by a member of staff, he'd still be there now holding the cup above his head, I think. What a fantastic end to what has been a difficult season. Could it be the catalyst of things to come? I hope so. I have renewed my season ticket for next year, so I'm looking forward to another roller coaster ride with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. A few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I went to see The Devil Wears Prada at the Dominion Theatre. We managed to get a bit of a deal, got some great seats in the stalls. I had not seen the film. I know it was quite big and popular, but I'm not really a guy who watches many films. However, I kind of sort of roughly knew the story and I really enjoyed it. It was fantastically done from start to finish. Vanessa Williams in the main role was fantastic. As I'm sure you can imagine, it was amazing hearing her sing live. Really enjoyed that. The whole cast were great. The music for the songs and some of the lyrics were composed by none other than Elton John. So as you can imagine, they were all very catchy. There was lots of humour in it as well, which I really enjoyed. It was a really good show, and I would certainly recommend seeing it if you get the chance. There was one point where some of the cast come out into the audience and they were standing right next to me because I was on an aisle seat. While they were out there, they put all the spotlights on them, so I was lit up brilliantly, which I absolutely loved. I felt like I was in the show for a moment, which just made the whole night even better. Despite saying I'm not a man who watches many films, I did see one a few weeks ago, thanks to my girlfriend who insisted we watched it. It was called G20 and it starred Viola Davis in the lead role as an American president. And basically what happens is they're having a G20 conference and terrorists take it over and try to kidnap and hold all the world leaders as hostages. The American president that Viola plays was a former army hero. So as you can imagine, she is involved in all the action. It's just a good old school action thriller, which is, again, fairly light-hearted. There is some humour amongst all the other things going on. I enjoyed it and it kept my attention all the way through, which for me is always a great sign for a film. I was delighted recently to discover that there was a new series of The Simpsons on Disney+. That show is just so good. I have loved that since the start. It always makes me laugh. I don't think I've ever watched an episode of The Simpsons and not laughed, or at some point thought, that's very clever. I see what they're parodying there. I see what they're having a dig at there. That is good. And they're not scared to go to lots of different and current places. It has, of course, evolved over the years, as everything has to, but I still think it's kept what it always had, that initial magic, the fact that we can recognise ourselves in different parts of all of the characters. It's just so well done and so funny. The only problem is, because it's on Disney, which is a streaming channel and they're all available, you just watch all the episodes at once. So it's not like the old days where you had to wait a week before you saw the next episode, and it just seemed to space them out better, I think. We had a games night at my girlfriend's place recently where she invited some of her cousins round for a night of food, a few drinks, and to play some games. That was a fun night. I do like a good board game with a group of people. We eased ourselves in gently into the night with just a movie trivia game where we just spent the time asking each other movie trivia questions from these cards. The main game we played for most of the night was one where everybody else looks at a phrase apart from the person whose turn it is. Then using your own small whiteboard, you have to draw what that phrase is using the least number of symbols. Then what happens is the person whose go it is, who has walked away from the table, comes back and they have to, in order, look at what you've drawn or depicted, and they start with whoever has the lowest number of symbols. If they guess it from that, you and them both get points. As it goes on, the more symbols that you require to be able to guess it, the less points you get. It sounds a bit convoluted and complicated the way I've explained it, but it's very simple. In fact, it must be very simple. I actually won. It was quite addictive. We only planned to play that for a bit and move on to something else, but we ended up playing that for almost the entire night. That is it for now. Just a reminder that you can hear my radio show between 2 and 4 Saturday afternoons at radio9springs.com. Look after yourselves and each other, please. Take care, have fun, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.